The first harsh reality about doing a PhD is that it is taking time away from your life. It is taking not only time, but the prime time of your life. Time when your friends are laying foundations of their financial future. Time when your friends who didn't do a PhD and aren't interested in going to academia are starting to maybe think about growing a family. They are participating in adult life. Now, the thing is that I went into a PhD with a partner, with a relationship that I had to kind of semi-ignore for a little bit. But if you're going into a PhD without a partnership, without sort of like the early foundations of the adult life, it can really delay you participating in that adult life until much later, because the PhD does absorb your time, it absorbs your attention. Like, work hard, play hard, yes, but when you're working hard, especially towards the end when you're panicking and writing up your thesis, it really does take away all of your attention, so you cannot give the time and attention that relationships, that money, that financial considerations, that your health requires. So yes, it does take away time and arguably the best time of your life as well, where you're young, fit, carefree, and then you spend all of that time focusing on your PhD. Now, here's a little disclaimer that I want to throw into this otherwise quite negative video, is that we all choose how we suffer in life, if you're lucky. Now, the thing is, life is all about suffering in different ways. When you do a PhD, you decide to suffer in an academic way. You decide to suffer by giving your time and energy to a problem that you think is important to solve for the world. Like, it sounds a bit grandiose, but that's essentially what you're trying to do. You're trying to find out new information that makes the human knowledge bubble a little bit bigger. Now, the thing is that if you decide to go into a job, if you decide to go into like an apprenticeship of some sort, like, you will be suffering in different ways, and the lucky people get to decide how they suffer. So yes, a PhD is full of loads of harsh realities and trials and tribulations, but ultimately it is a decision that the privileged people can make. And I certainly don't regret doing my PhD, but there are some harsh realities, and here are some of the ones that not many people talk about. One thing I wasn't prepared for during my PhD was the amount of sedentary activities that a PhD really involves. My health went down quickly, and it was just because I was sat. Now, the good thing is a lot of younger people do a PhD, but also now more and more mature age students are doing PhDs. And one thing I would say to those people is you do have to pay particular attention to your health, because you are not going to get it through your PhD. It is often sat at a computer, thinking, writing, typing, designing posters, doing presentations. Even if you're in a lab, if you're out doing stuff, it's very rarely moving heavy things, getting out, being active. It's about sitting down, for me, at a lab bench and deciding about little tiny things and manipulating files and doing nanotechnology with different instruments while looking at a screen while the big old instrument sat over here. It is very, very still. So the harsh reality is that a PhD will also attack you at a fundamental level, your health, if you allow it to. So yes, it is stationary work, but you do have the opportunity to build on your health after your PhD, but also, put in some exercise during it. Why not? This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description. When you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks. Everything from the tools I use, my TEDx talk, the podcasts I've been on, and more. It's exclusive content only available for free on that newsletter. Go sign up now. In the PhD and academic world, ideas are currency. Ideas, creativity are the most exciting parts of doing a PhD. That spark of inspiration when you see two things collide and you're like, I'm going to do that to my research. Whatever it is no doubt exciting. However, the harsh reality is, depending on your university or institute, you may not own any of your ideas. the university tends to absorb all of the ideas that may make money. So I had, during my PhD, a patent application go in, which my name was on it, but I wasn't kind of the main character. It was the university. It was the ownership rights were given away to other people, other entities. During my postdocs, I also patented some work. Once again, my name was on it, but really it was the university that was going to benefit from licensing out that intellectual property. So even though ideas are kind of like the fundamental bedrock of a university system and a PhD, they are not owned by the person that think it up. I've heard particular horror stories from academics where, for example, they may work in nanotechnology, but they have this idea for a garden hose. So they have to get explicit acknowledgement from the university that that is their idea and the university doesn't want anything to do with it. It gets complicated. You sign away your rights when you sign up as an academic, but it could spill over into PhD world as well. Just check to see who owns your actual ideas during a PhD, because the harsh reality is if there's money to be made out of ideas, the university wants it. The harsh reality of a PhD is that I always felt like I was missing something. Like I felt like I was incapable of doing a certain activity, a certain thing, because I wasn't clever enough or I didn't have that skill. The one thing I came to learn was that it was in fact about identifying. That is the feeling that you need to identify and then act on. Say, well, where do I go find that information? Where do I go and train myself in this very specific way? Who do I speak to make sure that I've got these skills so I can do this thing? That feeling that you're missing something, that there's like a void in the knowledge of in your mind that you cannot bridge. You have to build the bridge yourself. No one's going to tell you, no one's going to help you, no one's going to do that thing. The thing about everything before a PhD in research is that there's always systems and structures in place to make sure you know how to build your own bridges. In a PhD, that feeling when you go, oh no, I don't know, that is your signal to go and build that bridge over that knowledge gap. Now, the thing is that we don't like to admit that that's what we feel like, because as a PhD student, as the clever one, you're meant to know everything. But no, the clever people know they need to go out and build those skills, build that knowledge base themselves. So when you feel that, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Go learn. That's what a PhD is all about. A PhD is full of expectations on you. Now, they can come from outside. They can come from your own mind. Wherever they come from, they can certainly feel overwhelming at times. And that is a harsh reality of doing a PhD, is that sometimes you are crippled by these expectations. You do not know where to go, where to turn. The expectations, that pressure you feel can sort of dampen your creativity. It can certainly put you off course because you feel like you should be doing this one thing when in fact the most productive thing you could be doing is somewhere else within your research. Expectations are just part of the game and they can feel incredibly heavy at times. And the strange thing about doing a PhD is that you feel the expectations on you. It is an overbearing force which is sat on your shoulders sometimes. And then when you've finished a PhD, no one kind of cares. So I think that's maybe why people feel so sad at the end of a PhD, is because during it, it feels monumental. And at the end, it's just a thing that you've done and no one really cares about it. So that expectation and reality of getting a PhD can cause some serious sort of mental health issues as well, I think, towards the end and getting out the other side. So yes, expectations, it's all part of the game. As much as we like to pretend that academia is a meritocracy, it is not. It is full of luck, it is full of politics, it is full of manipulation. All of these things mean that just being the best at something is no longer good enough. Just working really, really hard, getting those papers, getting those grants is no longer good enough. It's about working internally with the politics. It's about making sure that you have a good professional and personal profile. It's about public outreach. All of these things and a massive, massive dose of luck mixed into it as well. Like, that is what makes someone successful. And the problem is the people that do get successful don't realize that it's not a meritocracy. And in fact, it works in their own mind a little bit better if it is a meritocracy, because they can be like, well, I earned this. Yes, you had to be in the right place at the right time with the right skills, but there's so much more that goes into a successful academic position and a successful PhD and a successful career other than your own effort and how much you've earned it. There is so much more, and unfortunately, the academics I spoke to, one of the worst, I remember said in front of a big group of people, well, the cream will rise to the top, like, I'm the cream, yum, yum, yum. He wasn't the cream. He was just a part of the cream that rose, and he was the lucky one. So yes, it is not a meritocracy. You can work your ass off and go nowhere. I've seen clever, driven people absolutely fail, and I think the moment you start a PhD, in my other videos I've talked about it, think about what else you can be doing outside, because that is the reality, that most people won't get a PhD, and the ones that do like to think that it isn't a massive dose of luck. So there we have it. There's everything you need to know about the harsh realities of getting a PhD. Let me know in the comments what you would add to that. And also go check out academiainsider.com. That's my project where I've got my ebook, the Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, as well as my insider forum where we help each other become better academics and help in life in general. All right then, I'll see you in the next video.